Good morning, afternoon, and evening, wherever you are, and welcome to Nerd Tube. And we're going to be doing a spoiler review for the entire season 4 of Umbrella Academy. I'm here with my lovely co-host Christine. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
And we've both seen the season. We'll talk about it, some of the characters, some of the moments. Maybe we're going to be talking about previous seasons as well. We're just winging it at this moment in time. But first of all, just impressions, Christine. How did you find season 4?
I think it needed two more episodes, and
Yeah.
I wasn't very happy about the entire wrap up because there was parts of it that I liked, but for the vast majority of the last episode, I didn't like how they wrapped things up so easily.
Yeah, I agree.
It was a cop
I
out.
whilst watching this, I was thinking to myself, this is really good. Like the pacing on this show is really good. And then before you know it, I thought to myself, hold on, are we ending here? And then I checked the episode list on episode 6. I thought, God damn, there's only 15 minutes left of this episode and we're done. I'm thinking I wasn't prepared for this. This is episode 6. Usually these shows are like 10 episodes. So I was kind of shocked that it was ending so prematurely. I don't know why they did it like this, but I have to say though, just generally, when it comes to all the seasons of Umbrella Academy, this for me is arguably, apart from obviously the premature ending, was probably my favorite.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously, with the first season, you have to get to know characters, establish them, and all of that. But the second and third season as well, they all, including the first, they're all very similar regarding the end of the world. And yes, the fourth season had that too, but that really didn't come into play until a lot later. You know, just them having to do teamwork and resolve issues without having to worry about the world ending felt different for a little while. You know, and I
yeah,
very much
because
appreciate it. Yeah,
season 3, it was kind of getting um, stale, the whole ending of the world thing. And I didn't,
yeah,
season 3 was my least favorite.
yeah. I agree, especially when they brought in this whole new Sparrow Academy, and they just started killing them off. Straight away in the third season. They didn't even give them a chance to develop or anything like
Which,
that.
which brings me to another question. Number one had a girlfriend from season 3. They got married actually, right? But in season 4, other than him talking to Diego about not being able to have children, she's nowhere to be found. Now, if he said she died giving birth or trying to give birth, that would be one thing. But he doesn't even say that. He just says, you're lucky that you have kids. She's gone, and she's got a superpower, right?
Hmm.
And the whole premise for the ending is that people that have this special power weren't supposed to have it, and that's why the world kept ending and they had to die. But she's one of the people that had it. Not only that, when they're getting food and everyone takes the drink of sake, that Ben has spiked because they all lost their powers. If you haven't seen it, this is a
Yeah, yeah,
spoiler, but
yeah,
you've been
yeah.
warned. They lost their powers at the beginning, at the end of season 3. In the beginning of season 4, they don't have them, and then they find a jar containing this special sauce that will give them powers back. Ended up giving them more powers than just their original powers.
Yeah.
And
Evolve
Ben
their
trick,
powers.
yeah, but Ben tricks them into all drinking a cup of sake with it in, where he spiked it with his special stuff. But one guy, the addict, doesn't want to drink. He's been clean for like what, 3 years or something like that. He throws it behind his shoulder, and just for a second, you see that it hits one of the restaurant workers. So
Yeah.
he wasn't at the end when everyone had to sacrifice themselves and die to stop the perpetual ending of the world.
It's a
So
good
that's a
spot.
glitch.
It's a good. Yeah, that is a good spot.
Yeah.
Let me actually pull up the cast actually because they were. Klaus. That's who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was also in a British TV series that I really enjoyed him in.
Yeah, there's a few British actors in this show. Tom Hopper, who plays Luther, the muscular guy. He's a British actor as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
But Klaus was in what was that television show when they get struck by lightning and they too get superpowers?
Oh,
And
you're talking Extraordinary.
no.
No, he wasn't in
But
that, was he? Sorry.
his superpower in that show was also invincibility. He could die over and over again. And it's funny because he gets buried alive in that show as well as this show.
That freaked me out. I'll be honest with you. That's why I like that particular going on to that scene. I can't stand shit like that, which is why there's a Ryan Reynolds movie where he's buried alive, and I just can't handle it. Obviously, when you're watching stuff like Kill Bill,
yep,
and all of that, you knew she was going to get out of it reasonably quick, but it was freakish regardless. Hello, Mr. Systems. Daniel Vance, sorry. The quick wrap up: CGI bothered me this season 5, and Leela saved the season for me. I don't know. I'll be honest. I'm a bit indifferent about that. You know, I almost felt like it came out of left field a little bit, and then next, they're stuck in this underground. And
before we move on, I just want to expand on the buried alive just a little bit.
Yeah.
I got a lot to say about what you're about to talk about too. When he's buried alive, the funny part is. The bad part is he knows he can die over and over again, so he would go crazy if no one found him. I love the ghost dog, but I also love because he's even buried alive, he's a scoundrel, he's funny, he's a little bit strange, and he thinks he's going to do the Irma.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he just keeps trying it. He can't do it, but he tries anyway, and I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I thought, he did do that. That was pretty cool. Tom Hopper was also in Black Sails. As Billy Bones. He was very good in that. He was also had some small moments in the Game of Thrones as well before his character, like many characters, inevitably gets killed off. Hello, Mr. System. How you doing? I hope you see Umbrella Academy. Reginald Hargreaves. He is a character who is full of mystery. And I remember in season 2, there's one moment where he takes off it. You don't see him take off his face, but he takes off his. Well, I think you see behind him. He's around all these other elites, and they want something done, and he disagrees with them. And then he realizes the only way to deal with them is by killing them. And he takes off his face, and he ends up, I think, eating them or something like that, which was a bit unusual. In season 3,
and he looks like an alien there.
Yeah. In season 3, we see his face getting cut in half, and we see some sort of clockwork thing going on inside his face.
In season 1, then he's a robot. So alien robot.
Exactly. Season 1, we see him on his home planet, and you see all those sparkly things, the same sparkly things that were in the drink that they drank. Leaving their planet and stuff like that.
Yeah, because his wife and his wife that died in season 1 on his home planet, she had invented an element, 2 elements, because one came from her invention, and the sparkly stuff was her invention. And after she died, he let it go. Yeah,
and it just interesting that that we were given all this mystery, and to a degree I'm kind of almost satisfied that it was never explained or concluded who Reginald Hargreaves truly is. What sort of person is he? What does he truly look like? All of these things. His relationship with the kids, is he truly their father, or by having all these women impregnated by these spores that he took with him from his home planet? all of
No,
these things.
he's not the father. It's his wife that died in season 1 had invented an element that he
Yeah.
released that adversely affected those women. So he's not
Okay.
technically the father. He
Fair.
released the stuff,
Yeah.
but he didn't. It's not a sperm or anything.
Okay, I'm glad you resolved that for me, but I still thought there were some things that were never answered, and they never will be. I think is obviously through comics and through comic book adaptations of this series, which will prolong the series in that sense. Or they try to maybe explain these things, but even that might not necessarily be canon if they ever decide to do a 5th season, which by the looks of things they probably won't, not anytime
No.
soon. Anyways, but yeah, he remained a mystery. He wasn't too much of an arsehole this year. He was always somebody you could never truly trust in the first 3 seasons. There's elements about him. Like he sent Luther to the fucking moon just to give him purpose. And yeah, he did nothing out there. He was wasting his time the whole time
Now,
he was on the moon.
that's another thing I caught because in season 4, and it wasn't expanded upon because it didn't give you a big enough answer. But his wife, who came back in season 4, said to Luther, "Thank you for going to the moon and looking after me." But how? And why was
Yeah.
she on the moon if she was on the moon? So that was strange. But I think
Well,
it's more obvious that he would do that to keep him busy, and get him out of his hair, right? By
yeah.
sending Luther to the moon.
Well, in season 2, he never knew he had kids because they went back in time into the 60s. And so by the time we went to season 3, the professor knew not to go for these kids because they caused him so much grief. So he went for looked for other kids instead and made them the Sparrow Academy. One of those kids being Ben, because he never got to know Ben because Ben was already dead in season 1. So he has now an opportunity to be a
He
Ben
knew
was the only.
Ben. He knew Ben, but Ben died really young, so I think he wanted to give him another go.
No, they weren't born in the 60s either. This was in the 60s. He never got to know Ben. He never knew that he only knew the people who were still alive. Ben was
Oh,
dead.
yeah.
Yeah,
The whole
so
time travel thing. Okay.
yeah. And so, but like I said, he was still an arsehole. Like he thought, but even though that different timelines and different alternative universes, you think there might be something about it that might change, make him better. But no, he ends up killing Luthor in the third one. Which is, oh god, and yeah, I never saw that coming. So, an absolute enigma of a character. Even in this season, we got very little of him, hardly anything at all. He was getting played by his wife.
Yeah, I love that. And
So, yeah, go on.
and I thought at first she was lovely, and then it goes along a little further, and you think, oh, she's up to something evil, and then you
Yeah.
realize, no, she's correcting the mistakes.
Well, she's the same species as him because
Yeah.
she was able. Because I'm going to go into the genes now, because she kills male gene, gene with a G, and puts on his skin,
Yeah.
and so she's obviously. But regardless of that, the genes before they got killed off, there were these two doctors who they were so similar as a couple. You almost thought they were like bloody like brother and sister in
They're
that
married
sense.
in
Yeah.
real life.
Oh, really? That's awesome. Well, we had Ron Swanson there. But regardless, they knew that they were from different timelines. They had memories and stuff like that, and they were an unusual couple. Sinister as well for a start, but
But funny.
yeah, funny at the same time. You did see that divide start to happen once this third party, the guy who pretends to be this girl called Jennifer, who also has a massive role to play in this series. It says he's related to after the Umbrella Academy to look for her, and then he has his part to play as well because he's following the Umbrella Academy, and he comes across as a bit of an idiot at first, but he's very sinister, and you start to realize there's more to him then meets the eye, and obviously ends up being the wife, of course. The whole plot was spoiled in the first 5 minutes after Jean and Jean dance. And the artifacts from the other timeline is a piece of paper with Hargreaves' wife's name and the cleanse. See, I
Good
never picked up
catch.
on that. I was just too busy watching them dance. But
Because
so
I wondered how they knew it was a cleanse that had to happen. I did what. Thanks for clearing that up.
well, yeah, everything. It's just another version of the end of the world. But yeah. But sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. But I want to go on now to
The underground.
yeah. I was hoping to go into those two, but I want to quickly go into Jennifer because she's like
Okay.
she's another person who has a part to play. But this is the thing that like where I just felt like we weren't given enough information because Hargreaves says that she's the opposite of the Umbrella Academy, but in a way we never really got to see that. And then her relationship with Ben, we never got really an explanation with that as well. Like they were, was there an explanation?
Yeah, but if
Yeah.
you don't pay very close attention, you'll fucking miss it. You'll boom, it's gone. When the wife explains that she invented or discovered this element, as a result, a second element was produced, and if the two ever met, then catastrophe would happen. That's how she first explains it. Later, we find out she's actually trying to make it happen because the timeline had been, kerfuffled because her husband had released the first element.
Who was the first element, Jennifer or Ben?
The Umbrella Company, everyone who got, all the women that gave birth, their offspring were her invention, like as a side effect of her finding or making this element. That's what caused that. And the other element that was an offshoot of the first one caused Jennifer to have it. Jennifer had no superpower other than that she should be separated from anyone who had the sparkly stuff in them. Because if they touch, then boom, right?
Nope. So you broke up a little bit. Jennifer had no superpower,
but she did carry the other element, so she could not touch someone from like the Umbrella Company because then the two would combine.
I saw them when the car crashed. Yeah, so it could have been any of them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So how the fuck does she end up in the squid?
I have no idea. I'm sure it was explained again because they only did 6 seasons. They would give one little sentence about a lot of things to explain a lot of stuff. And if you missed it, I must have missed it too. You missed it.
I'm watching this shit, and look, it's weird in the way because I don't sometimes I just sometimes think we just have to accept certain things without ever being given an answer for it.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and we'll never know. But girl being born from a fucking squid, I'm immediately getting Damien Thorne vibes from The Omen because he was born from a jackal. You know what I mean? And is she the Antichrist? Born, but this time she's not even a baby. She's like a fucking little girl. Yeah. And all of this.
I don't know if
she
was being hidden in the depths of the ocean so she couldn't make contact. I don't know if it was Hargrave that put her there years and years ago, because she did come out as a kid, not a baby. You're right. We'll never know. And you're right. Sometimes we don't need to, or we just have to, suspend our disbelief. Anytime we watch a movie or a TV show, it's fiction. So we have to suspend our disbelief for a bit so we can get into it, enjoy it, right?
Yeah. So this town, like when the Umbrella Academy go to look for Jennifer, and they go into this town, eventually everyone in this town starts to focus on the academy. Now, have you seen the movie Hot Fuzz?
Yes.
I was getting Hot Fuzz vibes.
Yeah.
When all the people were like pulling out their fucking guns and shit, and and tried to start shooting at the academy. And
Yeah.
this series didn't pull any punches. It was quite gory with the violence in this, and all these people were expendable, but all these people were part of Hargreaves's contingent.
Employees.
Yeah, they created this small town for Jennifer. It was like a Truman Show.
Yeah.
For Jennifer. So that was absolutely crazy. And that's when like Five, obviously, because that's when at one point, Luke, Luke,
Ben.
oh no, God, Klaus.
Yeah.
Klaus gets shot, which I knew was
Yeah.
going to happen, because he's trying to stay teetotal, and they have to put the liquid on him because they assume that's the only way he's going to live. It's like the holy water from the fucking cup of Christ or something from Indiana Jones or some shit like that. They're pouring it on him, and he's pissed off because even though he saved their life, he feels like he's relapsed.
Yeah.
Because he's been sober for years, and he likes staying sober.
And
Especially
he also knows what it's like to be dead, right? Because he's been dead before, and he knows that he'll see his long lost love if he's dead. The guy from the Vietnam War.
Also because he was he had powers. The only way he could suppress his powers was to be intoxicated.
Yeah.
But once he lost his powers, he finally had the opportunity to no longer be intoxicated, which is why he chose sobriety, because he could finally not have to be a junkie anymore. But now he got his powers back. He always thought like, shit, I gotta get high all the fucking time and stuff like that, which is why he felt like he relapsed and stuff like that, which was sad in a way, but what to do. He's able to fly now as well.
Because his power was very traumatizing, so he wanted to dampen the trauma by being high all the time.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to 5 and is it Lisa? Lisa. Now it's funny in a way because let me just pull up my list of names.
This is my favorite part that I wish was bigger, by the way.
Where is he? Diego and Leela. They ended up being a couple and they had kids and stuff like that. Leela was to keep herself occupied. She was going undercover and going to the Jeans sort of get-togethers, and she was pretending to be some sort of Southern Belle and all of that. And then 5 working for the CIA. He is also investigating, sees Leela there.
Yeah.
And so they're both working on it. Diego has no idea that Leela is doing all this shady shit, but she's not cheating on him.
It's book club.
Yeah. But she doesn't. But 5 is with her and doesn't realize who 5 is. 5 has got this sort of prepubescent mustache going on, and he just assumes that Leela's having an affair with this dude who she doesn't realize is 5, but she isn't. But unfortunately, irony being what it is that when 5 shows her the magical tube station, underground station, which I don't think we ever got an answer for either, did we?
Not exactly, other than it was a connection to, we don't know why, but it was a connection to all the divergent timelines. And you could take the train in the underground or subway if you're North American to get to all these different timelines, because each stop, and it was so complicated because there's so many different timelines and you could get lost in the subway system, right? So I think something happened and they needed to flash out of the way or they were going to die. So she grabs him and convinces him to, because he's already been there a couple times, but he didn't really explore. And she makes him.
Yeah, he went to a couple of stops. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're underground, and
yeah.
she's like, "Let's get on the train. Come on, you're a pussy." And then go on.
Well, what I started to notice is that as they were moving about, the stations started becoming predominantly more worse. Like the interior, like it became more dirtier, more broken down, and everything. And that's because they were going into more apocalyptic timelines. Also, the conductor or whoever it may be, I think they were speaking backwards, were they?
I thought so too.
Yeah, but there was a whole thing though with the patterns and the emblems. None of that was actually resolved. I think that's something more for people at home to try and figure out to
Yeah,
a degree.
they're Easter eggs. I hope someone can record what the overhead speakers were saying and then play it forward or backward, whatever, to find out what it was saying.
Yeah, they end up going on these days. It's amazing because it's hard to even fathom that they've wasted like 6-7 years going on. I couldn't believe it's taken that long. To tell you the truth, would it really take that long?
Well,
You know, um,
they got lost and confused.
yeah, but once they started planning it, and there was a lot of stations, but I'm surprised it would have taken that long. I mean, yeah, there could be 100 stations. I mean, there's like 100 stations in England in London in the underground. I think maybe.
Yeah.
I do think it would take 7 years to get to all of them, if you know what I mean. Might take 7 days, but but not 7 years.
Well, they
Um,
hadn't even seen all of them at the end of 7 years, right?
but you saw them marking them off, though. They were chalking them off. So I thought to myself, does it matter what station you go to, or does it matter the pattern you use to get to that station, if you know what I mean?
Plus,
Um,
sometimes they would get on a train, and once they got on the train, it was like, oh, by the way, this is an express train. So they couldn't even go to the stops they wanted to. And not only that, some stops were connected to other lines. So if they couldn't get to that connection,
yeah.
which made it harder as well. And I thought it was weird. They were on there for 7 years as well. And I actually wanted them to go more in depth because I think the really crappy stations they were staying in, you can sort of surmise from other statements made where they went out of the station because they would always try and leave the station to see what's going on. It was hinted at that one place they had like Gestapo like leadership and secret police, and they had to get out of there. There was post-apocalyptic places that they couldn't stay in. So, but there were also some nice places they found, or semi-nice places.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Like, have you seen the film Edge of Tomorrow?
No.
With Tom Cruise, and he keeps repeating the same day.
Yes. Yes.
There was that moment where him and Emily Blunt are in this place, and she realizes that he's been playing me because he knows my patterns, and so she realizes that they've been in this place before lots of times, and that's obviously Tom Cruise's character trying to stay happy in this one little place. But I was getting that vibe when they were in the strawberry place, of Edge of Tomorrow, a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But
another thing.
Yeah.
When we talk about getting out of the subway system and finding their way back before we expand on the subway stuff, he finds his own notebook at one
I
of the
I was gonna get to that. Yeah, I was gonna get to that. Yeah,
and it has the key to getting like which pattern to get out. How did that get there?
Yeah, that's another thing I was wondering. Was it? Well, the thing is, Vance
was it his notebook?
Well, Vance has mentioned something regarding regarding walking into a diner and seeing different versions of yourself. It could be another version of himself.
Yeah,
but why would that version give him directions to his timeline and not his own, if you know what I mean? But
well, it might not have been done on purpose, and it might have just been a general key to all the different stations, or that one number 5 he does end up talking to might have known that he needed to have that. You're right, Daniel. There's no real reason and no answers.
Yeah, I was very confused because even when he goes into the cafe and he sees all himself all chilling there, they're working in the cafe there and all his, and everything. Um, Even then, like yeah, all of these versions of 5 have been trying to find the answer and they couldn't, and so now they're just chilling in the cafe for some fucking reason. But I, it just added to the bizarreness, a bizarreness that I'm not necessarily complaining about, but once again, no real answers either. Like okay, this is just more craziness, more bizarreness. Because of all the fucked up things that's happening, it just increases all the unusual things that's happening around them. But
Not,
is there an answer to it all? But not really.
not only that, he spends about 2 minutes in the cafe, talks to himself, figures out what they have to do to stop everything, doesn't share it with anyone else in the cafe. Not only that, if they're exactly like him, wouldn't they have figured this out too?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, oh, got the answer. Not going to share it with anyone. Just going to go back to my timeline and fix it. Can't
Yeah.
read what Daniel's saying there.
Five children with a mannequin for decades. He's not right in the head. Yeah, he's very much.
Yeah.
He is very much Tom Hanks from Castaway. That's for sure. And that mannequin was his version Wilson. And we do have to remember that 5 is in his 60s.
Yeah.
He's not a young man. But what I forgot to mention after talking, we were tangenting so much, is that her and 5 and Leela ironically end up having a relationship because they've only got each other. Something that was probably never going to be on the cards ended up being on the cards because of the scenario that they were in. And the funny thing is with 5 is at the moment he told Leela that there's a way back home, of course she's going to take it. She's got fucking kids.
Yeah.
She's the mother. Even if she didn't love Diego anymore, she's got to go back for her children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I didn't understand, because he's like, we're in love. We can make it together. You don't like Diego anymore. Any sensible human being would know, even if it's not Diego she's going home for, she's going home for her kids.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have an argument, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was unusual, but in a way, I'm kind of glad that was over. I personally felt that whole moment was, God, this might, for people who enjoyed those scenes, it felt a bit fillerish to me. Like we got to keep these guys occupied in some capacity.
Well, I thought you meant petterish. Because he looks so young.
It's amazing. He's done 4 seasons and he's done 8 years of this show, and he's hardly fucking aged.
I know. He's a great actor, though.
I need to see how old is he?
He's pretending to be a 60-year-old, and he shows it in his mannerism, how he talks. He's a great little actor. I know you were kind of getting sick of it.
Well, there were rumors.
When they're one spot.
No.
Hello?
Well, sorry, 1 second. We're lagging. He's 20 years old. This actor. He's still a kid.
Yeah, but he looks 15. Yeah. So I was like in my head, I was doing the math, and I'm like, yeah, I know he's legal, but it was a little creepy looking, even though I knew it was legal. But I know you were getting sick of, and I was getting sick of them being in just one place. But I would have loved to see a whole episode of them going to different timelines and having to go through, escaping like Nazis, or, fighting for survival, or just crazy stuff. I think that would have been cool.
Yeah, I agree. The actor Aidan Gallagher, by the way, he some people were fan fictioning him and saying that he would make a great Damian Wayne, which is Bruce Wayne, Batman's youngest son, who was brought up. Damian Wayne was brought up by Talia al Ghul, who was part of the League of Assassins. So he's like a little ninja. you know, and he ends up being a Robin. You know, like there's been 3 or 4 people who've played Robin, and Damian Wayne is one of them. But he's also the most newest developed character in the Batman universe. You know, he's only been around for about maybe 10, 15 years in comic books and stuff like that, because he's relatively new on the scene. He's not like Dick Grayson or some of the others who have been around for longer. So, but yeah, he would make a great Damian Wayne. I don't know what you think, Daniel Vance. If you live for years experiencing alternative timelines, you'd be to wonder if you knew if what you knew of your life was even real. Yeah, I agree. And then you just want to find anything that's real as well. So
Good point. Good point, Daniel.
I felt.
And by
I
the
felt.
way,
I felt some.
the W
Yeah.
starts soon, Daniel.
Oh, the W. Okay.
Him and I know.
I felt some. I felt some characters were just there and didn't really offer much. I thought Luther wasn't really there for much. I thought Diego, apart from the love triangle, didn't really, offer much. Even Victor, um, like he had his moments near the end because he's obviously so powerful, but yeah, if until then, like he wasn't doing too much. Ben, it was good to see Ben really get a lot in this series, and obviously his connection with Jennifer as well. That played a really big part. His tentacles freaked me the fuck out though; they looked absolutely disgusting. So, yeah.
My
I
favorite
think we
two
pretty
though
much
were
covered a lot.
Jean
So,
and
is there
Jean.
anything I missed out?
I think
The genes.
the Jeans were just hilarious because that one woman, she's from Will and Grace, and the other guy's from Parks and Rec. They're normally comedians, so they did a really serious but comedically serious kind of
Yeah,
mashup.
black comedy.
Yeah, and I loved
Yeah,
those two characters.
a dark comical.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so you know, like after
yeah.
everyone's killed
I like that.
on their farm, she's like, "Oh, it's a shame they were hard workers." Like it was just farcical, and I loved those two characters, and I think those are great parts to it. Diego, his whole character, his motivation wasn't there for me. How he reacted to his wife, who outacts him. You know, she runs circles around him. Like when he's getting his memories back, and she's putting the thing in his mouth, and she's like, "I think we need some time apart." You know, like puts the
Yeah,
bite plate in his mouth. I love her. She's funny. She's a great actress. Number 5, what you know, he's so good at what he does, and I think you're right. I think he could play a superhero. In what you described there, yeah, totally. I didn't like the fact that they didn't have at least 2 more episodes, and one episode dedicated to just them exploring different worlds, which could have been fantastic, and the other episode expanding a little bit on why things were as they were. Like, where the hell is Luther's wife? You know, like.
mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to rack my brain regarding anything else.
The final
in
ending, like
well,
the
yeah,
one timeline.
I want to get that to right to the very end. We
Okay.
have the CIA as well. At one point, Luther and Diego, they do have that one particular moment where they end up joining the CIA, and it feels like
No,
I said before.
it's a tour of the CIA because 5 wants them occupied.
Exactly. So and obviously the CIA is owned by Hargreaves.
Yeah.
As well, and so he's just keeping them occupied. I mean, they should have realized something was up the moment they went into that office, and you got all these old timers there who are doing fuck all.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to be on their lunch break, but they just seem to be very laid back and quite casual at the same time as well.
Like we can see right away they're agents that have been put out to pasture.
Yeah.
But the whole fight scene that happened, liked it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and regardless of Luther being a bit of a doofus, you think they're going to take him on? The moment they were in the lift, it was like Captain America time. You know what I mean? He's going to beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
They have to
Before
know this. Yeah,
before it even opened, I was like, yeah, Luther won. And
yeah,
all those agents that were put out to pasture when the fight was going on in that office, they're like, fuck these other agents. Here, take this fire extinguisher, hit him over the head. I hate that guy. Like, it was
yeah,
funny.
yeah. Also, regarding Klaus, he goes to that drug dealer to try to get himself killed. He doesn't, so the drug dealer ends up using him as some sort of
Medium.
vice, yeah, medium vice to talk to dead people and stuff like that. Those, yeah, which led to the whole graveyard scene. His sister, whose name is escaped me now, my god. I just closed the bloody thing. Um,
The ball crusher.
no, the one who goes. I heard a rumor. We never really saw that.
Yeah,
I wanted to see her. I heard a rumor power.
she doesn't like
Allison.
using that. She doesn't like using that power. That's explained in other seasons because it is messed up every time she uses it. She messes something up. But that super juice that they all drank gave them extra powers. And she does use that extra power by staring at him. And after he calls her a ball buster, she's
Yeah,
like,
bloated
yeah,
testicle.
I am a ball
yeah,
buster. And
yeah.
just by looking at him, his balls.
So let's just cut to the end. Then I know there must be more here and there and everywhere, but I feel that the convenience of Five figuring out how to stop the reoccurrence of world ending every time was all right, fair enough. They needed Leela to be with them, and she was finding it very difficult to separate from her family, but realized that this was never going to stop unless she did. Allison had to give up her daughter, who was going to be with Leela's family anyway, so she was okay with that. Ben and Jennifer had merged now. I mean, you saw them; they were turning into these hideous creatures, and they were being taken care of by Jean and Jean, and obviously one of the Jeans was infiltrated by Hargreaves' wife, who then ended up killing the other Jean. And it's like, what the fuck, and yeah, absolute craziness. And they are there to look after the building. Victor interrogates the building, so somehow I forgot how he does it, and
Through
tries
a
to get,
back window.
yep, but tries to get to reason with Ben, but Ben doesn't want anything to do with it, and so
She
eventually once
tries to
her,
absorb the power as well.
yep, and her and Jennifer
He,
merge.
sorry.
He and Jennifer merges, and then they become this abomination, which is getting bigger and bigger. And whatever they do to it, it's not stopping it. This now reminds me of the movie Evolution, where they start trying to blow up the massive creature at the end, but it only gets bigger and bigger. And the only way you could destroy it is with fucking Head and Shoulders shampoo, because it's got a chemical in it, which will, they saw that on the periodic table. So they don't have any Head and Shoulders, unfortunately, but they do have. And so what they do have is a plan, and the plan is that we have to all be together, and we have to be devoured by this creature, and then we'll be erased from existence. Nobody will ever know about us, but at least all the people we love and care for will be safe. And that's what they end up doing at the end. And this is like a very sad, bittersweet ending. By this time, Hargreaves is dead. By the way, he chills. I think he chills with his wife. His wife reveals herself, and they just accept their fate, and so they get killed.
But I love how she talks to him before the reveal when she's still in the male Jean's body
Yeah,
and
yeah,
she's, chewing his ass out. And he's like, who are you?
yeah, exactly. That was a cool moment. Eventually, yeah, and he said, but they accept their fate. They die, and then the whole area is being taken over now by this Ben Jennifer monstrosity, the cleanse, takes over the rest of the Umbrella Academy. They let themselves die, but that in a way is the right thing to do to stop history repeating itself regarding the end of the world. And then I think they end up being little flowers. Is that what happens?
Ah, I saw the flowers. I didn't get that until you just mentioned it, because
Yeah.
those little lights came out of the flowers, and I either thought that was a way to do another season if they want it, but I don't think they will. But now I get it. Those were them. Okay, I missed that.
Oh, that's just what I picked out of it. It could be them. I mean, it should be them. It just what that's what it felt like.
Yeah,
Regarding another season, if they ever do another season of this shit, just stop fucking letting the world end. I beg you. I just can't handle it anymore. Like, no more world-ending catastrophes and stuff. Just have one. Like, what I liked about the premise is what I thought we were going to get from season 3 was we were going to get the Umbrella Academy versus the Sparrow Academy, but that
yeah,
never turned out to be the case. It was just another world-ending event,
yeah.
And so, all right, fair enough. I don't know if they're going to do a season 5. I very much doubt it. But like I said, this series did end prematurely, but the pacing of it was so fucking good because it only had 6 episodes to do everything. It was just like boom, 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 boom. We're not fucking around here. Oh, that fucking van with oh man, I
Baby
was
shark. Da, 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 da.
oh god, hated that.
I
Absolutely.
thought someone in that van is strong enough to punch that and stop it, but no one did that. I'm like, Luther, punch it.
I don't care what what the problem is. You got 7 people in that vehicle. You can figure out a way of stopping that fucking song from playing for 3 hours straight. I'll take silence over having to listen to that shit for fucking 13 hours. You
Yeah,
know, yeah, exactly.
that's
So
technically torture.
sorry, no, 16 hours because they had already driven 3 hours when Luther said we've got another 13 hours to go. So, and they were throwing up everywhere in that car as well. Oh my God. Like nastiness, like
Yeah.
figure out a way of like getting into the vehicle. I don't know. But yeah, that was disgusting. By the
Yeah.
way, a couple of things that slipped my mind. How come the train area had a different timeline in the sense that they were stuck there for 7 years, but it was only a few hours that passed in the present day?
Maybe time stopped when they walked through the gates or to this by the steps and down it into there. It's
No,
not
but they
explained.
stayed in the strawberry land for a little while, and time still kept going. Like it's
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
good point. And even if they didn't go to Strawberry Land and stay there for like a year or two, which I think they did spend at least a year there because there was an anniversary.
Well, they
But
spent 7. They spent 7 years, and then they mentioned that I think they spent about maybe 5 months in Strawberry Land
yeah,
until yeah.
but even if they didn't do that, every train station they went to, they left and went out of. And they might have spent an hour, half a day outside, because that one place it was insinuated that the secret police were after them. So they probably had to run and hide for at least a bit.
Yeah. I like the fact when they did get back in time, they get back to their own timelines, and then Diego was figuring out what was happening, and then the rest of the family members are there, all listening in, yeah, right, involved in the gossip of it all, like proper
Mhm.
days of our lives moment, absolutely hilarious. And by the way, Allison and Luther, their relationship never rekindled either, did it?
I didn't
Um,
like their relationship.
it's weird in
Never
a way
bought
because
it. There was no chemistry. What's
it's
Daniel
weird in a way.
say?
Daniel says they were searching for that particular moment in time. They were looking for particular sets of choices that were made, which led to that point in time.
Okay. Okay.
Well,
So it wasn't just place, but it was time where they had to intersect on the subway to get to that moment. That's what made it even harder. Gotcha.
and,
Good point.
and on top of that, regard. Oh god, I've lost my train of thought again. I'm really pissed off. We got. Yeah, I can't. I've lost it.
Oh, at the end, when they show the park and they show all the previous characters, like supporting characters, I thought that was
Was it
kind of cute.
supporting him? I can't remember them. I wanted to see the guy with the go with the fishbowl head with the little goldfish
Yeah,
when he was
he's
smoking.
he's not in the final scene in the park because they're all humans there from our time, but the goldfish guy, they have pictures at the end of the series where they're showing like
Yeah.
production behind the scenes, and they do show that, and so it's kind of cool. But you see and I loved her even though she was an evil character. She's jogging in the park and she's stretching and stuff like that. She works for the bureau.
Yeah, he was. She was Thingy's boss.
Yeah,
Five's boss. Yeah. And well, Five was always been given work. You know, he's always working for these agencies and stuff like that. It was so funny, given the salary and all of these things. Were just weird. It makes me. I find it hard to contemplate how these universes work. You know, like what do they do when they're not working? I mean, is there a world out there where they're not working and they go to shops and whatever, and they can go to a restaurant, and do they go to other countries in this world? This world where they have to go to a time bureau. Weird. It's just, you know, um, I found
I
it
think
very,
the time
I found it
bureau
very unusual. Yeah.
was a space out of time. I think that's how they explained it, which doesn't make sense to me
It
either.
reminded me of the TVA, which we saw in Loki, and obviously most recently in Deadpool and Wolverine. But yeah, regardless, it was there's just so much craziness in this series. It's hard to it's hard to fathom it all, make sense of it all. But if you're having fun, then I guess that's what matters. And like I said, with season three, I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of it as well. And in season one, I always knew that whatever they did was going to end up ending the world in the first place. They were never going to not make it happen. And the fact that it was Vanya who ended up being Victor Elliot Page, who ended up shooting a laser into the fucking moon, which caused all the issues, was absolutely crazy. What I found strange in season two is at the very beginning of season two, you see all the Umbrella Academy working in unison, for the government to fight against the Russians, I believe, you know, but that's supposed to be the future in 7 days, but that future never materializes because Five comes along into that past, and because of his presence, the it immediately changes whatever future that was going to happen. If you know what I mean. Oh, it's so weird. It's so
It's
confusing.
that was all connected to the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah.
One little part of season two that I loved because I loved finding out about the character was remember there was the Mary J. Blige and her cohort, I can't say the word, that were the assassins going after number 5 in season 1, I believe. He shows up as an old man uh, sitting on a park bench in 1965 or whatever it was with a briefcase. He turns to number 5. 5
I
has a
remember
quick
the briefcase.
conversation and he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, we had 10 or 20 great years. She's gone now because of cancer. Gives him the briefcase and gets shot. I thought that was a nice little tie up to know what happened.
It was a big fat briefcase as well, wasn't it? Where they had this
Yeah.
giant thing inside it, I believe. This time travel device.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. All right, let's forget about it. Don't want to talk about season three anymore. But everything was based in a fucking hotel.
Yeah.
And like I said, I got very upset once the Sparrow Academy were getting killed off so immediately that obviously it's a diversion of expectations because you're expecting the Umbrella Academy to go up against Sparrow Academy, but that wasn't necessarily the case. We ended up having another end of the world catastrophe, so that's what ended up being. But I don't think I enjoyed season 3 as much. I thought season 4 was pretty good, and I'm only going to mark season 4. What did you find? How did you find season 4 out of 10, Chris?
I hate giving everything a 9 because then it kind of means nothing when I keep giving shows a 9. But if I've made it to season 4 and I'm having fun watching it, it's a 9 for me.
Yeah, I thought season 4 was very good. I did enjoy it. I'm stuck between the 8 and the 9 myself. I felt it's weird in a way. If we had maybe 8 episodes, I think it would have been. I think 10 episodes is too much for a show like this. I think 8
Yeah.
episodes. I think 8 episodes is just about right.
Yeah.
I think we could have done with 2 more episodes. I felt I would have liked maybe some answers to stuff that we never got an answer to, and we never will do. And it's weird in a way. I'm like torn between that because a part of me likes the fact that we're not going to get the answers, and the part of me doesn't like the fact that we're not going to get the answers.
Yeah.
And I want those answers. It's weird.
Or when they
Yeah.
do answer stuff, you shouldn't have to be like, "Oh, just caught that. It was one sentence." Maybe spend 2 minutes instead of 10 seconds explaining.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't like the blink and you miss it sometimes. It should be, especially when it comes to certain things which have such significance, and you're wondering what the hell's going on. But fair enough. I'm gonna stick with the 8. I think the show ended prematurely, but I did like it more, way more good than bad. I do recommend it. If you've watched the other seasons of Umbrella Academy, season 4 is a must watch. You'll have a good time with this season. I enjoyed it. Daniel Vance, slightly different. A 6 out of 10, enjoyed it, but one storyline fell flat for me.
Which one?
Okay.
Oh, and if you like the actor that keeps dying but can come back to life, he's also in a show called Misfits, where
Robert Sheehan.
He's brilliant in that. You got to check that one out. Love it. If you like comic books, but dark humor, he does an excellent job in that show. He's the best out of all of them.
Yeah, Robert Sheehan is his name. Five and Leela's storyline was enjoyable. So he felt
What's
all
that?
the other story.
What's Daniel say? I can't read it.
Five and Leela's storyline was enjoyable for him. So if anything, he felt that was the one that wasn't flat for him. Everything else was flat for him.
I think it should have been expanded, honestly. Like I said before, they should have gone to different places and had adventures. I liked it too.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, there we go. So there are some other shows coming out in August, and we will get to it. A little bit of a lull here at NerdTube, but we will be back day after, with a review of the latest 2 episodes of Star Trek Prodigy. Might do some World's Gone Insane this Friday. See what we could talk about. It might be Zam's TikTok treasures instead. See what's going on, and we just whatever is out and about, we'll talk about it. There's some shows and series, unfortunately, that people were looking for us to review, but we just couldn't get on with it, like the Batman Cape Crusader. Do apologize for us not reviewing that, but yes, we will get onto other stuff fairly shortly. We have Lord of the Rings, as well as Terminator, and by the way, you should review that with me, Chris. Terminator. It's an animated Terminator. It's on Netflix. It'll be coming soon.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're into Terminator or not.
Oh, I love Terminator.
Oh, fair enough. There's a series called New Jack City.
The 4th one.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad somebody did.
I know.
Have you seen New Jack City by any chance?
Sounds familiar.
Wesley Snipes.
It's an older movie, right?
Yeah, it's 90s. Ice-T, Wesley Snipes, Judge Reinhold.
I think I've seen it, but I can't remember.
Wait, stop fighting, you two. Basically, they've made a series of that film, So yeah, Emilio Estevez, is he in that as well? Or I forgot that he was in that. That's when he was. That's when he had some stock. He doesn't have any stock anymore. But regardless, yeah, there's a series of the movie which is coming out also end of the month. I think it's got Mahershala Ali in it, so I look forward to reviewing that. There are some shows review right now. By the way, there's a show called Kin on Netflix that I'm reviewing. It's an Irish gangster drama. It's got Charlie Cox in it. Aidan Gillian is in it as well. It's all right. You know, it's a bit bleak, but it's okay. It's not bad. I'm like 7 episodes in. If you, I mean, I love gangster stuff. I love gangster stuff so much. Can never get enough of it. And this one being Irish, it's more. I can relate to it. You know, being a neighboring country, you know, there are a lot of similarities between the UK and Ireland. So, yeah, it's really good, and I recommend it. It's nothing like like The Sopranos or anything like that, but it's got its own grittiness, and it's pretty cool. I recommend it.
Okay.
Emilio Estevez. Oh yeah, Free Jack. Oh please, that film with what's her face, from the Lethal Weapon 3 and 4. Oh god, why does her name escape me? Oh god, what's her name?
I don't know. I
Let me
am
find out.
horrible with names to begin with. I'm worse when it comes to film names, producers, actors.
Rennie Russo. Rennie Russo's in there as well.
Rene
And Mick
Russo.
Jagger. Yeah, and Mick Jagger. Oh my god. Yeah, Mick Jagger as well. Yeah. Rennie Russo, she plays Emilio Estevez goes forward in time by like 18 years. He's a racing car driver, and his girlfriend is Renee Russo. But when he sees her in 18 years, she hasn't aged a fucking day. She still looks the same. You know, like Free Jack is a brilliant film. You know what? I'm gonna watch it again if I get a chance. And I did like it back in the day, but you know what? I know this movie has aged poorly. I know it. You know, you watch this film now and you think to yourself, God damn, when Mick Jagger's acting, I bet it makes you want to fucking, you know, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something from one of his songs as a way of explaining how shit it is, but I can't right now. But you know what I mean? Yeah, I think his acting is going to be cringy as fuck because Mick Jagger is not one. Like there are singers who are decent actors. I always thought Sting was a good actor. I thought David Bowie was a decent actor as well, who mainly did music. I thought Madonna's not that bad an actress as well. She's done stuff which are obviously terrible, but I don't think her acting is that bad. I thought Cher is a great actress. Obviously Jennifer Lopez goes without saying.
Cher was good.
Yeah,
in at least one movie.
yeah, and you know there are people who are renowned for being singers who are pretty good actresses. But all actors. Mick Jagger ain't one of them. Definitely not. So all right, we tangent enough. Talked about this shit for over an hour. Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you very much, everyone out there in YouTube land. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube.
Oh,
the greatest,
and subscribe to Christine P on TikTok.
Christine P on TikTok. Oh yeah, sharing the mask was brilliant. Yeah, that was Sam Elliott and Back to the Future kid who never was in Back to the Future.
And Daniel, watch the WNBA. We'll chat.
Fair enough. All right. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to Christine's channel, Christine P on Tickety Talk. Check it out, as well as mine, Zamario01 on TikTok. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day. Take care, everyone. Eric Stoltz. Eric Stoltz, you're right. Bye-bye.